Breaking news, Jordan Peele was the first Black person to ever win for the category of Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars. And he was the first Black person to ever be nominated for both producing, writing, and directing at the Oscars. Hi, my name is Liz, and this is Lizzie Box News. The New York native gained traction when he co-starred in a comedy sketch with Keegan-Michael Key, making one of the most notorious duos in all of comedic history, Key and Peele. This historic win of Peele's at the Oscars came from his movie titled Get Out and shows the beginning of a new, critically acclaimed genre of Black horror. From past experiences, we have seen that Black horror films have historically represented Black characters in a negative and stereotypical way. Specific examples that have shown us the atrocious portrayals of the Black community include movies such as Blackula from 1972 and Blackenstein from 1973. My partner Lizzie is going to interview some local Lizzie Box fans to get their reactions of these past blaxploitation films, this historic win of Peele's, and what they think is going to come from this niche genre due to its newfound acclaim. Please introduce yourself.
What up? My name is Jason Paternos. I'm a brother of Delta, and I like movies sometimes.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Get Out? And if so, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I watched it once. It was pretty good. I really liked its portrayal of Black exploitation.
Okay, and did you know that Jordan Peele was the first Black person to ever win for Best Original Screenplay and was the first Black person to be nominated for producing, writing, directing, all in the same year?
I didn't know that, but that's pretty chill.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this history in the making?
That's really cool. Yeah.
Do you know what blaxploitation films are?
Yeah, it's kind of like when Black people are exploited. That's how you got the word, is you took Black and exploitation and you mashed them up. And so it's like when Black people are kind of marginalized in movies.
And if so, have you heard of Blackula or Blackenstein?
Yeah, at first I thought it was a really funny movie, but then I kind of learned more about the implications of blaxploitation and how Black people are portrayed in film in a really stereotypical and kind of a bad way. And so I'm not chill with it anymore.
Yeah, and how do you think Get Out's portrayal differs from Blackula and Blackenstein?
It really centers the Black experience a lot more. So they are portrayed as still victims, but it's in an empowering way because we can see that, you know, the white people in the movie are not good. They are the bad guys in the movie because they are, you know, exploiting Black people for their bodies, specifically in Get Out, and, you know, in other ways.
Yeah. And what are other Black horror films that you think have succumbed to the, quote, Get Out impact, causing more positive portrayals of Black characters?
I don't really know, but I know Jordan Peele does a lot of good stuff. He had Nope recently, and that had some cool Black people in it.
Thank you so much. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Oscar. I'm a freshman at American University. I study anthropology. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm originally from New Jersey.
Nice. Have you ever watched Get Out? And if so, what were your thoughts?
I have watched Get Out. I really liked it. I'm not usually into like horror movies, but I felt like the way it kind of grounds itself more as like a thriller than like an explicitly explained horror is really interesting. Like it's less like supernatural and more like psychological, even though there are like kind of like more like sci-fi elements to it, especially like the big twist. But like I do like the way it kind of focuses on like more realistic kind of like horror. It's more interpersonal, and I really like it has a lot of funny moments too. Like I think the whole TSA thing is pretty funny.
Did you know that Jordan Peele was the first Black person to ever win Best Original Screenplay and the first Black person to be nominated for producing, writing, directing, all in the same year? And if so, what were your thoughts about that?
I did not know that, and that's like I find really interesting because like 2018 especially was like I feel like a really good year for the Oscars, and so the wins so many. Like there was like Shape of Water, and there were so many other movies that won like had like a lot of attention that year. So like that's very impressive. I'm surprised he's the first though.
Do you know what blaxploitation films are? And if so, have you heard of Blackula and or Blackenstein?
Yeah, I'm familiar with like that concept of blaxploitation, like the idea that they're movies centered around like the Black experience, but it's more of like a reinterpretation of something else based on the Black experience as opposed to like a new thing in and of itself. And oftentimes they're very like antiquated, like the messages they're trying to tell, or like even like just like offensive and kind of like politically incorrect. And so like I think with like what Blackula, what it tries to do is tries to tell like the story of like a kind of like almost anti-colonial message where it's like Blackula is like a vampire because it was done unto him by like this European like old-time money like Dracula like colonialist figure. But the issue to me with that film is that it sets that up and then it never kind of takes it anywhere. It's never like an actual commentary on colonialism. It just says, oh, he's a victim of colonialism, and still makes him kind of responsible for all his actions as a vampire. And it weirdly kind of portrays him in like a neutral light where it's like you do like have sympathy for him, especially with like the whole thing with his wife being like another character, and like they have a new character played by the same actress who's kind of meant to represent like what was taken from him, but then there's never like any reconciliation with that. And there's a weird kind of commentary on the police too, where it's like they criticize how they like kind of treat him and hunt him down, but then there's never like an actual like reconciliation with that fact.
And how do you think Get Out's portrayal differs from Blackula?
I think Get Out is much better when it comes to like how it humanizes the main character, especially because obviously like what Blackula's trying to say with like the whole thing with like colonialism and Blackula becoming a vampire as something that was done unto him, compared to like Get Out, is that Blackula kind of just blames like the Blackula himself for everything that happens to him, whereas Get Out, it like really shows you how like the horror of the story is like it's something that like is focused on like like the main character's experience as opposed to like something that is kind of like run around like with Blackula. Like the actual horror of the movie is like what the kind of like evil white family is trying to do with him, and like the kind of like fetishization of black people, and like exactly like what the basis of the story is that like it's a black guy being exploited by a white family, and it's like kind of it's very like direct with that message, and it has like a direct kind of social criticism, whereas I guess compared to like Blackula, it's like much more indirect.
And what are other black horror films that you think have succumbed to the quote Get Out impact, causing more positive portrayals of black characters, especially in black horror films?
With Jordan Peele's other work, especially like Nope and Us, it definitely benefited from Get Out initially because I think he's created a larger audience that kind of recognizes that like the black kind of experience in horror movies doesn't have to be kind of like antiquated, doesn't have to be so politically incorrect as it has been in the past, and like it can actually be used to bring light to and kind of raise more like interesting questions regarding the black experience in America.